I could tell you what I told me and what assisted me in that process, just realizing that you're infinitely powerful. And me becoming infinitely powerful and being courageous does not mean untouchable, unharmable, not vulnerable, unfeeling. That feeling and that emotion is just that, it's power.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Study Ascent podcast. We're back again with a very special guest. I'm super excited about this one for real, as podcasty as that sounds. We are going to be talking about healing today. Now, that's a very broad topic, but I kind of wanted to start broad to just allow us to kind of go into different avenues, and I'm sure it won't be the last time we touch on this subject. But here I have with me Krystian Jones, aka Krystian Leah Juno, uh, doula, herbalist, mother, sister, my best friend, and my sister. And so obviously that's why this is special, but obviously, well, maybe not so obviously for the people listening, but she is just very much a healer in so many ways. I've seen her consistently working on healing herself, as we all have in this effort, of healing our family in general, starting by healing ourselves, and just her spirit in general is very much that. So when she wanted to become a doula, as she's pursuing becoming an herbalist, it was no surprise to me. So I want to start there, and I've kind of left it open. And I'm personally gonna start with to just break the ice. And I don't want this to be podcasty. So like, all
Okay,
the nerves, all the what I'm saying, like blah. That's not what this
excellent.
is. That's not what this is at all.
Okay.
Because you know how we do. But we have, I would say, probably over the last, oh man, maybe 5 to 7 years, like very consciously been on this path to noticing a lot of the trauma that was in our family, like things that we saw happening cyclically, and making a very conscious effort to heal those things within ourselves, having healing conversations, aka transparent conversations about certain things that were going on. Even sometimes when it came down to understanding that sometimes our healing will not come with like closure, or the other person being like, you know what, I was wrong, or anything, like
Yeah.
it's still having to navigate that space and heal, regardless of if someone else is supporting you, kind of taking the people that do support you and moving forward. Sometimes you're moving forward with your family and different members, and sometimes you're moving by yourself in the journey, when it's like, hey, we can't really be, everyone needs to kind of do this on their own right now. I feel like we've seen so many iterations of so many things in the last 5 to 7 years, and I think it's something that this energy is kind of very heavy right now of doing that work. And so I just want to tap into you, because again, to me, when I think of healer, I very much think of you. I very much think of, a similar spirit, which is our mother. And like, how has this time kind of felt to you all, and why are you pursuing being an herbalist, and why did you pursue being a doula, and then kind of talk about your own healing journey, and then like, let's let it flow from there.
Okay. Okay. You hit me with some heavy hitting questions immediately right off the bat.
Off the bat.
So, because I feel like I could talk at length for like a hot minute about all of it, really. But I think, well, baby steps. First off, in terms of, uh, the reason why I chose to pursue becoming a doula or becoming an herbalist
Mm-hmm.
was really just my own experience um, with my own pregnancy. um, and navigating that space. And I really just wanted to be an advocate for women, people with wombs, just to, as a distinct lack of that support going on right now. Disproportionate amounts of complications. It's no longer, let's see what I'm looking for here. I know that this is not podcasting. Hopefully you can work with me because
let it flow. Like, just,
okay.
don't be trying to look for the perfect word. Like, say what you feel.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, in that case, so when I had become pregnant, I was pregnant at 19, had Legend, my son, at 20. And even though some would consider that to be like an okay age to have children, in our family, it wasn't really something that everybody was super gassed about.
No,
so
full transparency. Like, I was not as helpful as I would have liked to have been in hindsight in that process. Or during,
absolutely.
The initial finding out and everything.
But that experience for me was very traumatizing, from going to having the people around me that I look to for support, affirmation, you know what I'm saying, encouragement. I wasn't really receiving that. And I was at this crazy turning point of literally childhood. I could have been considered a young adult, but in essence, in reality, mentally, very much still a child. And then being thrust into this fear of being not only responsible for myself and my own growth, development, well-being, but this child as well, who started off as a concept, an idea. Oh, you're pregnant. Oh, that's cute. But like it's nothing really. All I know is I miss my period, but I pretty much feel the same. But to know that he was going to grow and then become this entire separate entity, separate from me, that it's no, I feel like being a mother today, or I don't feel like being a parent today. It's none of that. It's 100% 24/7, regardless of what you're feeling like, rain or shine. It is what it is. And when the time came to give birth, I kind of let other, women, the elder women in the family, kind of take the reins in terms of, how he was delivered, under what conditions. I wanted to have a really cozy home birth, water birth. That was my ideal situation. But that wasn't really something I feel like that was being discussed, openly, really, at that time. So to them, it just sounded like danger. Like, no, absolutely not. No, you'll be at the hospital. There will be an epidural, all that good stuff. And me being, looking for that, again, affirmation, encouragement, just a little bit of validation, I just kind of relinquished a lot. A lot of those decisions, which in hindsight I regret. I have to give myself some grace there, because I did what I could with the information that I had. But yeah, it didn't go as planned. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel genuine. It was a very traumatic experience. So as I was birthing him, I'm in this very cold, sterile room. There's a lot of fear, around what could potentially happen. Don't do this. We have to induce you because of this. What if this? What if this? What if this? And you show up there, and I'm in this scary space. My body is trying to create its own rhythm, but that's been interrupted by, all of these various people who I formulated no connection with, coming in and out. I was in labor for, I want to say, over 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a while. Yeah.
It was a hot minute. I wanted it to be a quiet, intimate kind of situation with me, Legend's father, and just like a very select few group of people. And that's what I had expressed to the doctors, or the nurses more so, in the room, and that was not listened to. I ended up giving birth with, I want to say, close to 10 people in the room. And then immediately after that, going into shock, which is crazy because I don't remember a lot of the after. I just remember legends on my chest. I'm looking at him. I'm amazed because I'm just like, oh my God, we've been literally connected, sharing this vessel. And now you're apart from me, but I still feel this connection, this intense love and responsibility. And just like, I would do anything. I would die for you, literally. And that's not really something that I like to throw around. You know what I'm saying? It's real. And I wanted to feel more strength and more power because I feel like it could have been much more of a calming environment, energy that would have just kind of given me a leg up in terms of coming into motherhood or working on my mental health after just that adjustment period. I feel like someone being there as an advocate for me, my wishes, the baby, would have been key, especially to someone who hadn't done it before.
So true. And you never really think about that. Like, yeah, obviously you're not in the most, like, you're literally almost in between one realm and the other as you're pushing, you're not in a space where it's like, and by the way, while I'm pushing this baby out, get those people out of here and do this and do that. Like you would need, and then everybody else, if they're not trained, I was filming and trying to make sure we had it for later, but it's like, we don't really think about, and sometimes we let doctors and nurses and people in the medical field kind of overstep their bounds. It's like, oh, they're a doctor, oh, they're a nurse, like, but what does that mean? Like, if I say this and this is about my birthing process and my child and my body, like, I need these things to be followed, and we do kind of get a little bit too loose. And so do you feel like you going the doula route and being that to other women would heal your process, almost like healing yourself through helping others?
Most definitely. Because I think a key part of why things went the way that they did was education. I mean, being from the Midwest, sex ed could be way better, 1,000 times better in terms of what to expect, what your rights are, even as the person giving birth.
I don't know. I have no idea. Like, is there something written down? Is there not? Like,
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not. These are not things that are common knowledge. There are a lot of women, people with wombs that don't know about their body in turn, like just the anatomy of themselves. Where's the vulva? What is vulva? You know what I'm saying? Where's the vagina? The vagina is not the whole kit and caboodle. You know what I'm saying? It's one specific spot that we're looking at here. So my thought was, if I could educate myself and communicate what I've learned to other people, then you know what I'm saying? That's half the battle right there, as far as people knowing what they're getting into and then taking that information to decide for themselves what's gonna fit with, what they want, what they're envisioning, and kind of go from there. It's not supposed to be this very cold, sterile medical practice when people have been giving birth for forever, going off into the reeds by the river and coming back with, you know what I'm saying, with babies. And it's such a beautiful process. And I just feel like part of that's kind of been stripped away due to men getting into medicine, white men getting into medicine, and kind of just making it convenient for them to, you know what I'm saying, to birth these babies. But to answer your initial question, though, I feel like it has assisted in my healing because, I mean, yeah, if I can assist in some folks having just a way better experience and being able to just not have that period of time tainted by, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have spoken up for myself, I wish I'd have had an advocate in the room with me, then that's perfect.
It sucks. It's so crazy to hear on the other side, and it's just like, Dang, yeah, I wish I would have, because I know, like, I remember you talking about, like, I want a water birth, I wanted this or that, but I just kind of thought, like, maybe things happen so fast, because it's like the option that everyone takes, which is that hospital option, is always going to be like very clearly paved, like, you know,
Absolutely.
sometimes the other options is like different obstacles because it's not something that's mainstream per se. And so I kind of just thought it was a situation that it was too late or appointments needed to be set. I really did not know. But in hindsight, I'm like, dang, the us in a moment of either not being aware or moments of a period of time wishing that we would have like advocated either for ourselves or another person, and unfortunately like that taking so much more time than that period of time because they didn't do that or have that in that moment, or that I wasn't that even for you, like dang, like now even for me a part of the healing process in terms of like my part and how the parts that I don't like that I played in the negativity of that situation, like it's been healing for me to be a part of you and Legends life in a specific way now, but also like it's made me very aware of if that situation would ever happen in the future. So we can't go back and change things, but
Yeah.
sometimes I do feel like a part of healing is just like, damn, I grew from that. Like it wasn't as ideal as I would have wanted to.
Mhm.
But I don't know, like, is growth and healing the same thing?
Let me think about it. You
Kind of
know what?
tricky.
I would say yes.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky.
Really. Because I mean, I think people have this misconception about growth and healing as it's just gonna feel so like good in a way.
I
And
think
I'm not saying it
healing
needs
got
to
to
be
about set us
pain a
free.
hundred. Exactly. I'm not saying healing should be pain 100% of the way through, but the whole concept of growth, literally the definition is pushing the boundaries. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Pushing past where you were before. And a lot of that's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be painful. You're gonna be outside of what you would typically do and having to admit to yourself that you didn't know what you thought you knew, or just admitting that you're wrong. Sometimes admitting that growth is even necessary, admitting that healing needs to happen in this space, I think would count as growth and healing, you know? So I just think as long as you're honest and aware, sometimes awareness kind of takes time. Sometimes people aren't present in the moment and a lot of stuff happens in hindsight. But I think those two things, I think that's fertile ground for some for some healing for sure.
and also I just thought about the word growth, like literally being also the physical act of taking up more space. Like now like your growth has will now allow you, if you ever choose to go through the motherhood process again, or in advocation of people who are going through that process, like you will take up more space because you have grown, you know?
Absolutely.
Like literally,
Absolutely.
like, no, we're not doing this. Nope, get those people out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about to run
Yes.
back that process. I've literally grown and I'm literally in this situation taking up more space due to that growth.
Absolutely. And that's why that's kind of why I say that education needs to happen first and foremost, regardless of whether you are, in the process of actively, what I'm saying, passing life from one realm into another, giving birth, or you're in the room being part of that community. It's essential that you know some of these things. It's it literally is it's not an individual type thing. It's not, well, if you plan on having children, you should probably know these things. But even if you don't plan on having children, it would be worthwhile to know in case someone in your space just, you know what I'm saying, just so happens to want you to be in the room while they're making these things happen, so you could assist in making that environment conducive to what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. And so as we were talking about the family not particularly being supportive, like how in hindsight, and we can start with our relationship,
Mm-hmm.
like how has that situation healed? Because I'm even also now I'm thinking about literally a wound healing, like you have the scar tissue over it. It's, you see where it happened, and it's not like it's like it was never there at all. It's not that.
Yeah,
It's very much
definitely.
like it's not open and it's not festering anymore, and it's not this, but I remember what happened. I see the scar. Like how, maybe starting with us, have we been able to heal past that situation? And then how have you healed past that situation with family in general as it pertained to that process?
Mm. I would say forgiveness first off, and for to me, forgiveness to from me to me,
Mm-hmm.
because at first it was kind of feeling like I made a mistake. I I you know what I'm saying? I got pregnant. I had to tell everybody that I was about to have this baby, and then they just responded. It never even occurred to me really that you know what am I trying to say here? It never had occurred to me that this could be a possibility in terms of like, oh, you're about to have a child. That's like celebration time. So I was totally blindsided by that entire process. So for me, I had to forgive myself in terms of you did what you did. I didn't, this pregnancy happened because it was supposed to happen. Because at the end of the day, I received Legend, which is fantastic, is amazing. I love having him here. I love that I've been, you know what I'm saying, bestowed the honor of guiding you through life. So that's huge and that's major. But I've kind of based my forgiveness to family members based on actions and words, actually. As far as me and you go, I feel like Legend was, a baby, and you were expressing to me how basically apologizing. And, that's more to be said for a lot of other people in our family who just never acknowledged what happened and never acknowledged the type of effect that could have potentially had on me and did really. But it's it's been a healing process because my family has been a huge help. You've been a huge help, and Legend loves you like so much. You're one of his
Oh,
favorite
wow.
people.
I was maybe about to say,
Exactly, right? He's such a cool dude. His heart is ginormous, but he loves everybody. He has no idea, you
mm,
know.
that's deep.
And but I can't even really say that the wound is completely healed because I have to catch myself and to making sure that I'm not becoming, part of, the whole concept of hurt people. I sometimes catch myself feeling away if, someone's celebrating, they're about to have a baby and they're getting all this positive reinforcement. I do feel away, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because I just remember little me just feeling terrified and feeling rejected.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just such a like that's honestly and truly an emotion that I'll never forget. And it's still something that I'm working on. But again, I want to be the type of person that is celebrating. I want to say congratulations. I want to say that, oh, this is amazing. So even though I do have the little, of past emotions trying to pop, I'm like, hold on, girl. I know somebody is not receiving what you didn't receive in the past.
I know.
Therefore, you know what I'm saying?
The
That's not the
ego.
type of energy. Exactly. It's not
But
the
it's
type of energy
valid
I want to
though,
put in.
because you should have been able to receive that. So it's not like those feelings aren't valid.
It's true. But I feel like it's just really going to be an ongoing healing process. Legend is only five, which is crazy. It's amazing that he's been here for 5 years, but then I have to realize I'm going to be alive for a hot minute. I have that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's also going to be here for a hot minute. So there's just so much more growth and development when it comes to parenthood and just the emotions that come along with that because I am a mother and I need that village support, but I also want to be part of the village. And I want to be a source of, again, love, affirmation, encouragement. I don't want any dark shadow parts of my past popping up, making me the problem. You know what I'm saying? Exacerbating the issue that's already going down. All right, in terms of Black and brown people having families. And I just, yeah.
Well, I love that. We're going to take a brief intermission and we shall be back. All right, we're back. I want to get into, well, first of all, I want to say, like, just the piece about, I just really felt what you were saying. And every time you tell that story, I kind of feel like I'm able to feel like I can step a little bit more into your shoes in terms of like putting myself in that situation. And I'm like, I don't know. You definitely have some powers of healing, because I feel like I'd still be bitter. Like I feel like I would still be upset.
Yeah.
I feel like my relationships might have been largely tainted, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not giving myself enough credit, but I don't know. So that was such a crucial moment, you know, like
Absolutely.
such a pivotal moment. Things like that become super core memories, and
they do. They do.
I just, yeah, like I said, I've been transparent about not playing the role that I wanted to play. And sometimes I think that goes into healing, because I think that people respond in certain ways, maybe from unhealed places within themselves. Like they think that they're being like, I was hurt in this way, or this didn't serve me in this way, or something, and they're projecting that.
Yeah.
And instead of it coming across as, I'm saying this because I care, or doing this because I care, is like very much the opposite effect, like a polarizing effect in terms of what you want it to be, and just ends up being a whole mess. And that helps me lead into like, communication would have been so dope. And
True.
we are leaning more and more into good communication in our family, and that's happening. Like some people have really accepted and leaned into that, and other people have been pretty resistant to that. I feel like if there was less resistance, then it could have turned out differently. Like, can we talk about this? I don't even know. Like, when I look back and think about just that, how much, just how charged, that was such a charged time, like in terms of the energy and the emotions, like it was just,
Oh, definitely. I feel like
it was a
as
lot.
far as the communication portion of it, sometimes factoring in like is am I able to speak on this right now without, you know what I'm saying, coming off extremely just, you know, the long-term effects of what you're going to say immediately after, basically, is what I'm saying. Because like with big information like that, and especially if the emotions are literally just like bursting to the surface as far as how you want to respond to that person, I think telling people you need time to process should be done more often.
Yeah, and
As
how
to
to do
just,
it too, because then I also feel like doing that, it could be like, especially when you're expecting to be fanfare, like, oh my god, congrats, like being like, I need time, like I can't even deal with this right now. Like that could even be, it's so much about communication, is so much about how it's presented. You know, first you
definitely.
get to saying it at all, then it becomes how you say it, then it's like it's so many layers that really make you have to have like a true hold on your emotions, that it's just
Definitely.
like, I don't know if I would have been able to, I don't know if there was a way that I personally could have not been hurtful in those moments, because even if I said I need time, I felt like that would have been hurtful, but just maybe less hurtful, you know? And
True.
yeah.
Yes, I would much prefer to hear I need time from a lot of people than what I actually heard.
Yeah.
Because yeah, some things you just cannot like
Take back.
unsay. Because I've definitely I still can like hear echoes of those things in my mind from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
And even in my healed space, I have to like revisit that. And not because I want to, because I'm just constantly like pondering and thinking about this one particular moment of time. It's just there, something so stark and like, it's yeah. So definitely thinking about how we approach our loved ones in times of disagreement or even disappointment is key, especially when it's the concept of like a new life coming into play. Because at the end of the day, it's not like anybody's gonna not want, you know what I'm saying? The child is gonna be loved
Some people
in most situations.
yeah, some people can't say that, but in our situation, it was very much like that. And I feel like the main people who kind of disagreed in the time, like it definitely was a different situation once Legend was actually here, but it still doesn't take back what was said. And speaking on that specifically, if there's someone else who's out there and they're like, yo, this is my story, like my family flipped out, people aren't acknowledging what was said, and everybody just wants to act like nothing happened. Like, how do you heal from those type of situations? Like, ideally, what would help you heal? Like, what would someone else have to say, or what do you feel like this would have really, like, I'm gonna do it regardless, I'm gonna heal regardless, but this would have really helped me? Is it just an apology? Is it apology plus certain actions?
It's apology plus certain actions, because I'm not a huge fan of words. They're used often and very rarely honestly. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people say what they think you want to hear. Like, what's okay? It seems like you want me to apologize for this, but like, a genuine apology is always fantastic, but action is key. And if I had to talk to anybody that was going through a similar situation, it would literally be to, if you have the means, finding a therapist first off, because your mental health is key, especially like really through the entire process of parenting. You know what I'm saying? You kind of have to be able to get your thought processes in order and have certain systems set in place so you can be 100% or at least 90, saying a good percent to be able to give to, the little person depending on you. But especially in those beginning stages where your body has just went through something crazy hormonally, especially if you're prone to depression, which I definitely was. Postpartum was definitely in full effect at that period of time. In that period of time, I mean, but basically finding those ways to empower yourself as a parent and removing blame from yourself. You know what I'm saying? Yes, did you have you got pregnant, you have a child, but you're not responsible for other people's reaction to that.
Mm.
That's going to have to be something that they deal with in later on, if they choose to even acknowledge what was said or how they acted, whatever. But the bottom line, you and that the child are like top priority, in a sense of, I actually don't even know if I want to finish that sentence because I want to replace it with this. There is community, 100%. Women have been having babies at various ages since, you know what I'm saying? You're not the first. And you sure as heck are not going to be the last, but you are capable. And if you're not feeling capable, there are systems set in place. I wish they were a little bit more fine-tuned, a little bit more, again, widely spread, a little bit more accessible to to everyday people, but there are systems set in place to help you. That's really the key there.
That's powerful, and I felt like, man, that was definitely some healer energy being transmitted, because I can tell you said that with your heart, and I do. It is so true. It's like certain situations, especially you were 19, 20, like, this might not be prime time, but it's like, what is prime time? You were 19, your teens were basically over by the time you had Legend. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was, luckily, I mean, I know that he was conceived in love and consent, you know what I'm saying? Like all that. And
which
it
is,
really is gross how women can just bear the brunt of that. And I think that therapy alone, like, yes, we have like trauma therapy surrounding sexual assault and things of this nature, but like, what about for pregnancy and postpartum therapy services? You know what I'm saying? Like that, those the things that aren't really talked about. I think that, like, as I'm hearing and the more I talk with mothers, the more I hear certain stories repeating themselves. And it's like, definitely seeing a gap here in terms of what's needed versus what's available. And then women coming and sharing these really scary stories about what they went through, what their mental state was after, them lacking support, them finding themselves in a single parent situation, the other person maybe not feeling like, not understanding, a lack of education that I'm hormonal, my body just went through a complete change, shift, like a lot happened, even though it's something that we make like a movie, like, oh, this happened and it didn't. Oh, pregnancy, labor, baby, happy family. Like, your body's trying to recover, your hormones are all over the place, everything's trying to find some type of equilibrium. And there isn't a lot of education and a lack of education around how to be supportive to a person who's just had a baby, like how to be a part of that healing process, both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, before, during, and after. Like, I don't feel like that's something that I really ever seen put out there, even in the circles where it's like, crystals and water births and everything else. Like, even them with the water births, they just show the water births. It's like, that's great and that's healing and supportive, but like, again, what about the before? What about the after? Like, there's so many gaps, and the women are forced to, like, literally extend themselves almost into a lack of existence, having to fill the gap for themselves somehow. And then afterwards, when they actually do it, it's like, oh, that was crazy. But then hearing the story about how they were feeling before and their lack of mental well-being is like, that was scary. Like, what about the women who don't make it across, or what I'm saying, like, who need that? Like, what
is available
happens?
to them?
What's
and it was you had mentioned earlier about just like the fact that is it a huge blessing that Legend was conceived, with love and consent, key consent, because a lot of people are not afforded that. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of women are taking on the brunt of a lot of things. People with wombs are taking on the brunt of a lot of things. And it's in that case, even then, education is dire to this situation, because people are not aware of what their choices are, what their options are. Sometimes it's just like, oh, this thing has happened to you. Maybe someone has taken advantage of you, already a traumatic experience. But now there's an additional life that you didn't plan for. You didn't, you know what I'm saying? You may not be financially prepared for. And regardless of what someone's stance is on the concept of abortion, it's literally critical that people have access to safe, clean, you know what I'm saying? It's parenthood is not obligatory. You know what I'm saying? In a sense of like, do you or do you not have this baby? You know what I'm saying? Yes, adoption is an option. Foster care is an option, but we're still not even taking a close look at those systems and how those systems function. How well are they functioning? You know what I'm saying? So there's literally, so pregnancy is huge. It's amazing. It's like definitely something we need to be educated on and focusing in on. But once those kids are here, what systems are set in place to support the families? What systems are set in place to support newborn babies? And again, if the choice is that you can't do this, you know that for a fact, and you've made this choice that you don't want this child, something that's safe, legal, you know what I'm saying? All of these things, it's just,
That makes me want to get into
it's
like the child healing, because when you're going through a traumatic experience as a mother, which is, we're feeling it as emotions, but it's chemicals in our body making us feel certain ways, and you're just flushed with every kind of stress and anxiety hormone that you have. Like that affects the baby a lot, I would assume. Now,
absolutely.
I think it is something, I'm not sure how many people have studied that, but I'm like, that's something that would be nice in terms of therapy for babies whose mothers have been in extremely stressful situations, or just if you don't like, it doesn't, if your version of it is extreme, like babies are not like they can be sitting on a couch, telling their 2 minutes of a life to the therapist, but like
Exactly.
sound, or like sound bath, for your baby, if you kind of want them to, if you feel like they kind of
Absolutely.
came into the world in a stressful state. Or
Because
that's
I
why I'm looking
mean,
forward to your practices and your
yeah,
practice, because I feel like that's the type of things that you would think about, and I think that that's the type of things that are actually needed, because there's so many gaps in this space. Like, even though I feel like there's more and more doulas now, I don't know, maybe there's more and more doulas after kind of the obliteration of that system, kind
yeah,
of returning back to that particular system. There's more and more people returning to it, and so, but
yeah.
there's so
It's
many gaps in terms of what's needed, and so many other things that can be thought of that will be useful to heal mom and baby in the future. And I don't know, I kind of like, this is definitely, it's kind of touching on a mom, like a motherhood healing, and podcast, so that might end up being what I call it. But I think it's so needed, and as someone looking very much from the outside and just being a member of the village looking in,
mhm,
it's so much more than an ocean. Like, it's
absolutely.
so intricate. They don't tell us anything. They don't, people are afraid to share what their actual experiences. Um, we had when we were walking in the park the other day, we talked about like just shaming moms and for their emotions about how difficult parenthood can be.
Yeah,
You
because there's
a bustling bundle, or whatever they say, bundle of joy. Like, not all
bouncy,
the
exactly.
time. When you're literally like
No,
about to lose your mind, no sleep, no this, stress from your body's trying to heal, like that. We have, when you think about that and the intricacy of that, like, we're definitely not. We need to beef up the services.
absolutely. Because I mean, again, parenthood is not marketed. I'm saying marketed because it's like all these movies and TV shows where it's just like, she's giving birth and her lashes are done and her eyebrows are, my God, and everything's just going amazing. Breastfeeding is going amazing. Everything is just, and you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't think people are really raw and honest about what parenthood is. And again, I'm always going to go back to education. Yet we need to, as a village, as family members and support systems, we need to be having real honest conversations about sex, what it entails, what it results in, how to do it safely, how to do it ethically. You know what I'm saying? All of these different things. And again, demanding more of the systems that be.
Mm-hmm.
Sex ed sucks. Okay. There's disproportionately Black and brown women passing away in hospitals, and that was the way that they were encouraged to do it. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like this. This is a community spread issue. This isn't women, or even though women are, just
And I'm not even
being
gonna look
hit with all the shots.
I'm not gonna look, because when I was thinking about it, because we can often be like, the Black community, we need, but we need to step up for each other. Like, there's, the adage, like, the systems are working like as they're not. So, well, the systems are working as they're supposed to, but also like that's how they've been consistently working. And so if it is you yourself and other people getting in there, if those women are choosing, to use those systems as if it's their first choice, fine, but maybe you still want somebody in there advocating for you that's knowledgeable, and it's not just grandma who's had 10 babies. Not that that's not a wealth of experience in itself, but there's some, things have changed. And to know, like, someone to kind of have navigated that space multiple times, and also for people to become, for more Black and brown people to become doulas in order to be those advocates if they're going to be in those spaces, and even if they're not trying to go to the hospital specifically, which to me, when I think of doula, I think like water birth, home birth, not necessarily needing to go to there. It's like, if we're noticing that this is how a certain system operates, like, either we need to, assist in terms of infiltrating that with not just ourselves when we have to infiltrate that, or to create something else or an option outside of that that's safer. We can't just keep blaming the thing that's been working how it's been working.
And that's fair. The system is working how it's supposed to be working. In the sense of me saying that we need to demand more from the systems that be is literally just that. Just acknowledging that, it's not working out. It's not working out the way it could be way better. Could be way better. But educating ourselves is going to be key. There's written information, books, a wealth of midwifery books, birthing, just it's all there. I wouldn't 100% leave it to, if you are going the hospital route, I wouldn't leave it up to the doctor to make those decisions, because the reality of it, and not many people are aware, the doctor is going to be in that room for all of 2 minutes to catch that baby and cash that check, and then they're out of there. It's going to be the nurses and the midwives. And if you're doing a home birth, I don't know that if people are really aware that midwives are actually trained, you know what I'm saying? In case of a medical emergency, there's going to be the midwife. The doula is, again, the advocate. And then the midwife is there to ensure that if something does go wrong, you have somebody there. You know what I'm saying? That knows what they're doing. And if it's something that goes terribly wrong, you have somebody there that's able to drive you to your nearest trusted medical practice. So I feel like that's, people may not be aware. They just think it's some lady in Birkenstocks with unpainted toes.
Like, I know we're going to have to go into, like, obviously this won't be your last time on, but like briefly, for the edification of people, what is the difference between a midwife and a doula?
A doula is not, they are trained in birth, in a lot of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Starting with an H. Basically, they've been taught and everything handed down from generation to generation. So that woman in the village that was there for everybody's birth, that doulas have all of that knowledge. What's going to create the most comfortable environment? How do you alleviate, those contraction pains? What essential oil blends assist with nausea? What, keeping that water a certain temperature, advocating, and, just making sure that she's comfortable, and doulas also largely assist in helping the partner as well. Like, here's what you need to do here. And it's just kind of making sure that everyone is working as a team. Whereas the midwife is trained in, administering, say, vaccines if you choose to vaccinate, and all of these different medical things. You need a license to be able to do these.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're trained in. So the two of them together is like
good team.
Perfect. Yeah. An excellent team. Yeah, one without the other is kind of like, it went well, but it could have went better, But those two together is a perfect blend.
Good to know. That's obviously something that I honestly wasn't super clear on. I've already said, like, if I ever choose to go down that road, which which may not happen, but like, I definitely am gonna need you to be there, and Sydney.
Absolutely. Yes.
And Sydney for sure. We have a cousin who's literally a labor and delivery nurse as well. So, yeah, you guys make a powerful team.
That would be amazing. I would love to work with her in a space like that, especially if you that's doing the birthing. That would be extremely dope.
That would be wild. I feel like something special, like someone would drop down from the skies.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Like carrying Madame Zeroni up a mountain, like we did something to break.
So that I
you know what I'm saying? I don't know
yeah.
what happened, but man, honestly, an hour has passed, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it gets once the conversation gets flowing, time it is literally becomes an illusion, as it actually is. So as much as I want to kind of go on, I'm going to say that we're gonna have to tackle this in part 2. And I knew healing was just such a broad topic, so I'm gonna name this. I'm gonna name this like healing. I don't know, maybe like, what do you think? Healing in motherhood healing. Something like.
Absolutely. Even if you did name it motherhood healing, it would have to be a part 2 and 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, I think motherhood just absolutely.
And I think it was completely needed, and because that's literally like naturally where the conversation led. But it's like, I just didn't know, like, from top to bottom, like, and I think that's so much of it, is that we're just so uninformed in terms of how everything from how to speak to each other to how to be supportive to how what's actually needs to go, like, in every space. Like you said, the key is just about education. And it doesn't look like, let me sit in a class and
exactly
learning but it's like, how did that make you feel when I how can I, I'm so sorry, like, it's the communication, it's the being there, it's just so much. And that's why I'm like, the word healing is almost overwhelming.
Truly, because it's a lifelong process.
Exactly, is in itself overwhelming, and it's like you have one lapse of judgment or whatever, and you got a lifetime to heal from it, or a core memory from someone else.
Yes.
Like, let me take it back. Too late.
You've already gone.
Which totally sucks. But it's why I forgot what the adage is, but it's basically like, there's life and death in the power of the tongue.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that every time I say it, as the older I get, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm seeing it. Yeah.
And just like, if you had been supported in a certain way, and I'm sure the way in which you will support others and have supported others in their journeys, like how that was so affirming. And so I want to commend you. I want to commend you for taking your experience, something that was kind of poopy, and using it as fertilizer to assist and help others situations like yours be fruitful. I think it takes a strong person. I think it takes a person whose heart is naturally not inclined towards bitterness, You are a very naturally bubbly, laughter, like a very free spirited person. And so I'm happy, not that it happened to you, but that you were
Yeah,
able to use your own natural disposition to help yourself heal, just again, because of the type of spirit that you are. Because, some people that would have just forever ruined their family, regardless of if they would have apologized or not. They've been like, I can actually never forgive you for that. And that wouldn't have necessarily not been valid, because
exactly. That's why I was like,
and so that wouldn't have not been valid. And that would have been a hard pill, especially for me to swallow. And I would have had to just regret that for the rest of my life. So thank you for allowing me to apologize, to be a part of Legend's life. And I'm not like, we didn't fight, or I don't think I cursed. Like, don't remember cursing at you. Did I curse at you?
no, you didn't have to use curse words.
Well, it was
It was, yeah.
very, I was not just feeling it at all. But literally, as time got closer, I was just like, you know what? I'm actually really excited about this. Like, I love her, and like for her to create something like that, I'm gonna love. And then just the whole situation, I was just literally so grateful for him to be here. So grateful that not that you had to go through that, but that situation allowed me to become a more compassionate person, to be more understanding, less judgmental, more aware of my words, and more aware how certain things can, you say it now, and again, it impacts you for life. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I love you.
Well, anytime. I love you too.
Um, so yeah, we got a couple minutes left. One quick question I want to end with is, again, if there's someone going through a similar situation right now, will you take the time to give that person some words of encouragement?
Words of encouragement. Hmm. I don't know. I think I could tell you what I told me and what assisted me in that process, just realizing that you're infinitely powerful. And me becoming infinitely powerful and being courageous does not mean untouchable, unharmable, not vulnerable, unfeeling. That feeling and that emotion is just that, it's power. And you're going to need that to be able to carry you through the rest of this lifetime, especially your parenting journey, as well as to be able to create that same care, compassion, and courage for, you know what I'm saying, the person that's coming after you and that's looking to you for just so many different things. Kids are always watching,
Mm-hmm.
constantly watching, and that doesn't mean don't express yourself. Be honest, be real with yourself. Really, you have, I don't know, and also you have time, and you can't, don't judge yourself. Essentially, parenthood is extremely difficult. If anybody's telling you that it's a cakewalk, I can guarantee that they're lying to your face. So just be gentle with yourself, be gentle with your child. um it's okay to ask for help if you need it. It doesn't make you a bad parent, it doesn't make you incapable. It means the complete opposite. It means you know what your limits are, and that's amazing. That's perfect. Yeah, don't condemn yourself either.
I love that. That was so great. I'm glad that we have memorialized this so that it can forever be, and that's why I do so, can forever be available. And you never know, somebody will run across it and it'll speak something directly into their spirit.
I hope so. That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
That's
But
how
yeah.
it works. That's how it works. The message finds people. All right, everyone. You heard it here again. We have Chris Leah Juno. You can find her on Instagram at
I believe it's the Leah Juno Collective, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, should be.
Leah Juno Collective. Follow, like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on all platforms at Study the Ascent. It's been really real. I'm excited to, carry on this conversation just about healing and get more deeper into what we've been doing in terms of our family, but some of that still literally unfolding as we're speaking right now. So until next time, it's been beautiful.
Yes.
And I'm happy back. Rest to
Thank
chat
you.
a little bit more. So all right, y'all. Peace, and
Peace.
we'll see you on next episode.